Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 40 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on November 23rd, 2020. It's Thanksgiving week, guys. Super awesome. We shall call this episode the Thanksgiving Extravaganza. Or like Festivus or something, Anyway, 40 episodes. 40. You guys know that's like over 40 hours of me talking into a microphone. Like, that's not normal. For that matter, actually, we're up to 28 sound signature reviews. That's a lot of data. So let's put that in perspective really quick. So there are a lot of modular silencers in there, right? You got the rugged stuff, you got stuff with different end caps, things like that. And like other tests. And so that's actually over 30 published tests so far. And I've been publishing muzzle and ear data. Okay, and so the time durations analyzed for all those waveforms have been long enough that I just sat down right before I started this. I was like, I wonder how much data that really is. And so I computed it just not for all the test data that Pew Science has gathered, but just the stuff I've shown you, just the stuff that's published on the website. And so not counting any of that other data and only the stuff on the website, it's way over 30 million samples. It's over 30 million. 30 million. It's way over 30 million little nuggets of data, little points. Actual measurements. And I do a lot of work to gather those little tiny points every microsecond. And then I take that data and I do a lot of stuff with it. And what kind of stuff? You may be asking. Well, silencer stuff for you. And if you want, you can visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. How's that a segue? It's the simplest and most accurate hearing safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. It's in section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard. The standard walks you through gunshot noise. Sort of like Wikipedia, but cooler because it's about silencers. And there are 6 parts. They're all on pewscience.com for you to read. And if you haven't dug into the whole standard yet, that is totally fine. You don't have to. You can skip directly to the suppression rating in section 5. It lets you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to sound at the muzzle and at the shooter's ear. And it gives you a hearing safe dose limit for the particular platforms on which they are tested. You're not going to find this information anywhere else in the world. I promise you that. And if you keep looking at the data there, you go to section 6. The current final section of the standard, section 6, it contains all the reviews. All the reviews are there. You go check them out at pewscience.com. If you are a manufacturer and you would like to use Pew Science for private testing and consulting services, there is a form on the website with which you can submit that inquiry if you like. Your contact information and any data we produce for you, all that stuff is held in strict confidence unless you want to release it to the public, in which case we can definitely help you do that. And hey, on this episode, you guys are going to see some of that. You've already seen it. We'll talk about it. Okay. So, by the way, you can support this podcast. You can support this podcast and Pew Science and our testing by joining at pewscience.com. And, you can give this a good rating on your favorite podcast provider as well. Like on iTunes, for example. You let iTunes know, hey, guys, despite what's going on in the world, despite what's going on with politics, silencers are cool, guns are cool, and this podcast is awesome. People see the review, they say, oh, maybe this is nice. And they listen to it. They want to buy guns. They want to buy silencers. Everybody wins. You win. We all win. Okay. 5 topics for you today. 5 topics. Oh man. We're going to see how far we get. Sound signature review 626. The Surefire SOCOM 762 RC2. Okay. That is a crazy silencer. We're going to go into that in the first topic. The second topic, Sound Signature Review 627, the CGS Hyperion. What in the actual F? I'm going to keep this family friendly. What in the actual F? That silencer. It's like, seriously. Okay, topic 3, Sound Signature Review 628, the CGS Hyperion K. Are you kidding me? I don't even know. It's topic 4. Where do we go from here? I don't even know right now, this moment, but I have some thoughts for you. And then topic 5, welcome to new Pew Science members. Thank you for your support, all of you. As always, it is greatly appreciated. Okay. All right. It's been a minute. Topic 1. Let's see. Before I get too far ahead of myself here, I'm gonna notate this. Notate this time. What are we at? We're at 6 minutes. Yeah, 6.5 minutes. Okay. Topic 1's at 6.5 minutes for you folks that like to skip. Do not listen to me. That's fine. Yeah, Sound Signature Review 626, the Surefire SOCOM 762 RC2. Okay. This is kind of an interesting review, and it's kind of a long story here. We're going to go into it. Keep in mind, throughout this podcast today, I have a lot to cover. Okay, I've kind of prepared a couple notes here for you to keep on track. I will not promise that I'm not going to get off track because you know me. I'm a little crazy, but we've got a lot to go through. I'm going to try to hit all the points. If I, for some reason, forget to hit something and we need to go back, that's okay. And I'll go and I'll do another episode. Okay, so don't get upset if I forget something. We got a lot to cover. I'm not gonna plow through it, but I am gonna go a little quickly. Okay. The good thing about podcasts is you can pause it and you can rewind it, or you can go back and see. So, as always, tech@pewscience.com. If I leave something out, if you have a question, DM me on social media, whatever. Get in touch with me any way you can. Send up a smoke signal, shoot a suppressed steel case dirty AK round. Just don't do that. AKs suck. Okay, let's get into this. It has been a minute. I published this review of the Surefire silencer. I published it on November 12th, so that was it's about 12 days ago. Since it's the 24th now. It's midnight, so it's technically this podcast is going to be published today, on the 24th. So it's been about a week and a half since the initial publication. So that means you guys have had a chance to check it out. The Surefire SOCOM 762 RC2. Wow. Like, seriously. Incredible silencer. Incredible silencer. And so much data published for it. Did you guys expect this silencer? Like, I know a lot of you wanted to see Surefire stuff. And the crazy part about this is that I first tested this silencer in May of this year, but I tested it with the WarComp mount. And do you guys know what the WarComp is? Okay, I'll explain. The WarComp, Okay, the WarComp is a series of muzzle devices made by Surefire, either brakes or flash hiders, that are ported compensators, okay? Hence the comp in WarComp. I think the war comes from killing bad guys, okay? So it's like WarComp, killing bad guys with a compensator. Now, so what the WarComp does, when you shoot it unsuppressed, it vents gas out of the top of the mount through like little holes, okay? And so it doesn't vent gas out of the sides or the bottom. It just vents gas out of the top. So if you time it right, if like that is actually like rotationally, rather, if you time it right rotationally and the ports are on the top, it creates a thrust, a downward thrust, right? Recoil tends to make a muzzle rise. Downward thrust tends to counteract that. Bingo bango, you get more muzzle control. Okay, cool. Okay. Totally cool for shooting unsuppressed. Totally cool. Makes competition shooters happy. They like that stuff. Super fun. Makes it shoot flat. Makes unsuppressed rifles in soldiers' hands more controllable. They like that stuff. They put more rounds in the bad guys' skulls. You know what I mean? Like, or in their chest, or however you shoot and kill people. Kills more efficiently, right? Okay. Good stuff. So, what happens when you put a silencer on the mount? What happens when you put a silencer on the mount? Well, first of all, the downward thrust from the ports on the top goes away, right? What are you putting thrust against? It's in the silencer. It's inside the silencer now. Okay? That isn't going to help you. That isn't doing anything anymore. Now, it's in the silencer, and theoretically, your gun will now be suppressed, and you're going to have a good time. Because, the sounds, the muzzle blast is suppressed. But if you think that's what happens with a war comp, you're going to have a bad time. The reason you're going to have a bad time is because of the way Surefire's rifle mount works. And it's kind of cool in some ways. Okay, it is kind of cool. You have this little male keyed part on the mount. Like whether that be like a flash hider or a brake, like whatever war comp or other mount, Surefire mount you have, you got this little key, okay? It's a little male part of the mount. It's a straight line. It's a straight machine piece that's a protrusion, okay? And then there's a little female notch oriented axially on the silencer mount body in the silencer, like connected to the silencer. And when you that keyed notch, that male part on the mount, it fits into that notch. Okay? It fits into the notch in the silencer. And there's this little tapered surface at the rear of the mount, and the silencer sits on that. So like you rotate the locking collar on this Surefire silencer. It's on the silencer. And then the thing locks on. Okay? So far, so good. You've used a locking silencer before. You might be thinking to yourself, sounds good, Jay. Sounds like a keyed mount to me. A locking collar, copy that. I've done that before. Okay, fine. The notch. That notch, I don't know, man. It's just not a good seal. There's not a good gas seal between the combustion products at super high temperature and pressure and the taper interface and the collar interface and the notch interface. It's just not tight. It's not tight. And do you understand? It's a bit leaky. And I don't know why necessarily. I don't know the exact reason. I don't know if it's just the design. I don't know if it's the tolerances in the design. I don't know. I don't know. But what that doesn't matter. What matters is super hot, high pressure gas gets in the nooks and the crannies, and you may be thinking, well, so what, man? Like, so what? Like, relax, Jay. Okay. I know. Okay, no. So, okay, before we go too far down the road, the war comp, let's talk about the war comp really quick. I started talking about the war comp, and then I started talking about the mount in general. So let's circle back really quick. Okay, I'm sorry I said circle back. I'm not trying to be cliche. I hate that term. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said it. I hate when people say that. Okay, I become what I hate. All right, we're talking about the work comp. Remember those ports I was talking about, the work comp that induce that thrust? Okay, sure you do. I just talked about them. Imagine all of those super hot propellant gases. Close your eyes, and imagine superheated gas at high pressure. Superheated. Literal plasma stream byproduct coming out of the muzzle. As soon as that bullet comes out, what was pushing it? What was pushing your bullet at supersonic velocity? Superheated gas. Okay. That's what muzzle blast is. It's happening very fast, but that's what it is. Imagine that blast. Imagine that. You have it in your mind. It's all going through those little ports on the top of the work comp. It comes out of the muzzle. Where does it want to go? It sees ports. It says, oh, I want to go there. I would love to go there. I'm gas. I want to go where the flow is. I want to go where the flow is free. It goes through the ports. Then it says, oh, well, I can go forward. There's a silencer there. There's baffles. I will go there. So it goes there. But you know what else happens, man? The gas sees the mount behind it. It says, I'll go there too. I can go there. I'm gonna gas. I'm gonna fill my container. That's what you learned in high school. In elementary school, you learned about the 3 phases of matter. I told you this is a plasma stream, so it's a little different because you have some characteristics that are a little bit different than gases too. But overall, we'll just think about gas right now, and we'll say that the gas can fill its container. So that's what it's doing. What it's doing, it's very high pressure. It's going to fill that container very quickly. Like within microseconds, it's going to fill. It's very fast. It's very, very quick. And so it's going to find its way into that mount interface, and then what it's going to do is it's going to go into the keyed tolerances, and it's going to force itself through the mount. And you know what happens once it gets into that pseudo gas seal interface? It only has one place to go, the atmosphere. And then what? What happens when you have that? And keep in mind how fast this is occurring, okay? What happens when that superheated gas gets to atmosphere? You get a spherical expansion in 3D space as a blast wave. That's what you get. That's right. Like you get a blast wave, you get superheated propellant gases contacting the atmosphere. That is muzzle blast. And now it's outside the silencer, and it didn't get to go through the silencer first. You feel me? Okay? Have I drawn this picture for you? Okay. It didn't get to go through the silencer yet. It came out of the muzzle, it went through the ports, it went into the mount interface, and then it came out of into the atmosphere. Very quickly, relatively. Not instantaneously, but quickly. And now it's in your face. Okay? Now it's in your face. In the face. No, but really it is. Don't believe it? Okay. I wouldn't have believed it either. Frankly, I would have not believed this either, but I measured it. I did. And before I even measured it, I felt it. What did it feel like? It felt like particulates hitting my face and my safety glasses and my ears as I reached to stuff my earplugs further into my ear canals, because I can tell you right now, like, look, I shot this. Like, this is not okay. Here's the thing about Pew Science. If you're just joining us for the first time, like, I'm not blowing your skirt up. All right. The overpressure at my right ear was measured to be very high. Pew Science members can see that in the review, actually. They can definitely see that in the review. It's a literal shock wave. So for you Pew Science members listening, go to review 626, okay? Scroll down to figure 9 and look at the at-ear waveforms. Those are shocks, okay? Note the almost instantaneous rise to peak pressure. Those are instantaneous shocks. Textbook. That's the definition. It's almost stupid for me to say instantaneous shock. That has no meaning. What I meant to say is a textbook shock wave. I mean, it's not exactly instantaneous there, but it is. The rise time is very fast, and that is exactly what muzzle blast looks like in the free field. By the way, but guess what? That was 6 inches from my right ear. 6 inches right of my right ear. That was me. I was shooting the gun. Those are real blast waves measured at my ear from the mount leakage. Okay, so members, okay, now look at figure 10 members. In the members review, the impulse histories at the same location. Have you ever seen impulse histories like that in the review so far? No, you have not. I'm answering that for you. You have not. Hint. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, you have not. And that's what short duration shock impulse looks like. Okay, now look at figure 12. Okay, and I'm sorry for all you people that are not members of Pew Science. Just bear with me. I got to tell the members something about this because I put stuff in there for them. You just have to take my word for it if you're not a member. Look at figure 12 in the member review. See the comparison of the war comp test with the silencer with the non-war comp with a silencer. You see that comparison at the ear? That's real. Comparing decibels is dumb. Now comparing waveforms, that's what Pew Science does. Okay? Does figure 12 convince you to not ever use a war comp with a silencer? Yeah. If it doesn't, then look at it again. So without the war comp, the performance at the ear is different. Without the war comp, the gas stays inside the silencer, okay? Mostly. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It doesn't all stay in there, but it mostly does. It's way better. It's like night and day. It's night and day. It's a different system, okay? Sure, you still get gas leakage around the interface, but the normal Surefire flash hider, for example, it has these little circumferential machined rings they're called labyrinth seals. I have one right in front of me. I'm looking at it right now. I actually really like the Surefire mount, the way it looks. It's all pretty. It's well machined. Looks nice. Feels high quality. It's all soft. Nice finish surface there. Anyway, those little seals, they call them labyrinth seals. It's like a machine. It's like really two machined indentations, I guess. Or grooves, I guess I would say. Two machined grooves. Some circumferential grooves. I don't know the depth of them. I didn't measure them. But it's a weird name for the labyrinth seals, but whatever. I think they sort of work. I think, supposedly these mounts are still going to seize, though, and get carbon locked. Even if you use the labyrinth seal mounts, supposedly. I was told that you can actually prevent them from getting stuck by removing the silencer after you shoot it and cleaning everything really well. But I've also had people tell me they get stuck no matter what. And I can't tell you how, what's really crazy, dude, guys. You know what's really crazy? I can't tell you how many dang soldiers messaged me, actual people that use these to kill people with. They messaged me after this publication and they said, "Hey, Jay, dude, Pew Science man, how do we prevent this from getting stuck on our guns and the silencers, that is?" And because they love the silencers so much, but the mounts would seize. You know what's really crazy? And multiple people have told me this, not only the soldiers, but other people that know the soldiers They said that they would get these silencers stuck on purpose on their guns just leave them on the guns so the point of impact shift wouldn't change. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're like, okay, well, these silencers are going to get stuck. We're going to have to pry them off. One of them actually told me, the guy said, hey, they had to pry them off with a screwdriver against their front rail. And they have, and okay, I think this was like was this guy a SOCOM guy? I don't remember. This guy might have been like a big army guy. I don't know what division, or I don't know whatever, where he worked in the army. But he was like, yeah, in our unit, we have to pry our freaking Surefire silencers off of the guns using a screwdriver, and we leverage the screwdriver against the front rail, and it messes up our zero on our IR lasers. And I was like, damn, son, like that sucks. And I was like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry that happens. Like, it's a good silencer. I'm sorry. Like, I don't. And so that was interesting. Okay. So now that I've said that stuff, I just realized, like, I sort of talked about this review backward. I talked about the mount, and I talked about the fact that you guys realize this review 626, there's 2 tests in it of the same silencer with 2 different mounts. This is not a modular silencer. This is a silencer I tested twice, because the first time I tested it in May, I tested it with the War Comp. The second time, and I was like, what? And I tested it again with a flash hider that has the labyrinth seals, the non-ported mount. Okay. So let's talk about the data now. So the suppression rating overall for this silencer on the 20-inch 308 bolt action platform, 38.4 overall. 38.4 overall suppression rating. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. You may be thinking, gosh, Jay, well, that's a little loud. Okay, well, first of all, relax. It's a 20-inch bolt action. Okay, it's 308 supersonic. And that's a lot of energy. Okay, that's a lot of energy. And so relax. Also, second of all, that's a 37.8 at the ear. Okay, and that's not the worst thing, considering the back pressure on the silencer is so freaking low. It's not even funny how low it is. It's ridiculous, actually. And I'll tell you how low it is. It has less back pressure. It has less back pressure. That is the rise time to peak gas momentum transfer potential or impulse measured at the muzzle than the Sandman S. Less back pressure than the Sandman S by like more than 10%. Okay? That's crazy. It actually is pretty crazy when you consider the overall performance. Now, think about it. Let's think about it. The RC2, this SOCOM 762 RC2, Surefire, it is actually closer in back pressure metric, or computed back pressure metric, to, it's closer to the same NK than it is the S. And the K is like super small and loud. Super tiny, super loud, super loud. But the SOCOM 762 RC2 is not super tiny and loud at all, actually. Actually, it's about as quiet at the ear as a Silencer Co. Omega, and it's quieter at the muzzle than the Omega. But it's like way less than half the back pressure of the Omega. Isn't that not great? And look, the technology in the Surefire silencer is superior for a gas gun. It's superior. It's better. It actually kicks the ever-living crap out of almost everything as far as suppression and back pressure balance goes. It really does. Like, that Pew Science has tested so far. I can tell you that. Like, even the stuff I haven't released yet. Like, as far as, like, suppression rating and back pressure balance, like, I've tested a bunch of stuff. I haven't processed the data, but I guess let me back up. Let me say that a different way. Out of the stuff that I've processed and it analyzed so far, right now, The SOCOM 762 RC2 has the best balance of suppression and back pressure, I think. I mean, it's quieter than an Omega, guys. It's quieter than a Silencer Co Omega, right? Am I messing that up? Hold on. I could be wrong. Let me look at the plot. It's actually a graph, bar graph, figure 7. Hold on. SOCOM at the ear. Okay. It's actually a little bit louder than the Omega at the ear, barely. But it's quieter at the muzzle than the Omega. Okay. Did I say it was like quieter overall at the Omega earlier? No, I didn't. I said it was actually it was about as quiet as the Omega at the ear, but it was quieter at the muzzle, and it is. Okay. I didn't want to tell you wrong. Looks like I didn't. Okay, let's not get crazy, Jay. Start talking crazy talk. So wait, where was I? Dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's better than everything in balance. Balance of suppression and back pressure. Of its size. I mean, of its suppression class, right? I mean, oh yeah. Well, the Hyperion K, which is actually it's going to be. I'm going to talk about that in this podcast. That's also actually a really, really crazy silencer, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, let's just keep talking about the Surefire now. The mount, okay, we talked about the mount. We talked about the Surefire mount. It's not the best. It's just not. It's not the best. We know that. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. The soldiers know that. The people who kill people know that. Surefire knows that. They all know that. But the silencer itself, though. Look, dude. This is why people put the RC2 on a Scar. This is why they put the RC2 on a Knight's Armament SR25. You don't have to adjust the gas with an RC2. Really? Apparently you don't. Look, if your rifle's already overgassed, your rifle's already overgassed. Okay. That's one thing. But, I mean, it might be a little bit gassy, maybe. I don't know. But hey, if your rifle's in good shape and you add the silencer, I think you're going to be in a good gas situation. If your rifle's not adjustable, you're going to be in a good gas situation, family, La Familia. And I tell you what, it's not just the Pew Science back pressure metric that says that. This is not like, oh, this is Jay's imaginary crazy data that some people don't believe because they think I'm crazy. Okay, fine. Don't believe me. Don't believe the data that I publish. That's fine. This is not a theoretical academic exercise when I'm telling you this. I had at least 10 discrete individuals, strong anecdotal reports directly to me, saying to me, in their experience, the 762 RC2 is the only silencer that will work on their SR25 or their Scar that they have tried. I don't know if they've tried an OSS. I don't know if they've tried a Sandman K. I don't know. I do not know. Frankly, I don't care because what I'm telling you is that they're saying that's low back pressure. Okay? Soldiers, night hunters, enthusiasts, SOCOM guys, retired SOCOM guys. You name it, man. The Pew Science data is right. Okay? It's right. Because, like, no one's disagreeing. I'm telling you, what are we on? What is this? Review 620 what? 626? What the fuck? Hold on, 26. 626. 26 reviews. No one's disputed it. There's like one guy on Reddit who told me something. He's like, hey, dude. No, was it one guy? It might have been more than one guy. Oh, there's a Pew Science member. He's a good guy. There was a Pew Science member, actually. He did say on Reddit once, he said, hey, I don't think what you're doing is right. And I said, okay, roger that, sir. Can you please tell me why? His reasoning was, he didn't give me a reason. It was more like, oh, well, because so-and-so said. I was like, well, that's not a reason. That's you saying you don't think it's right, but it's not you supporting it with any evidence. You come to me with your test data, we'll talk. Okay? We'll talk. Until then, I'm not going to be rude and say that I'm right and you're wrong and I know everything. That's not true. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the test data that I'm giving you. Let me back up. Look, we don't have time to get super off track right now, but like, just so you guys know, the rise time to peak gas momentum transfer potential is the rise time to peak impulse measured 1.0 meters left of the weapon muzzle or silencer end cap. Okay. This is the time that it is postulated to take the gas to get out of the silencer. It's in the positive phase. This is a positive phase impulse. Okay, that means a gradual building of positive phase pressure prior to decay, because we're looking at a peak. We're looking at a maxima, the initial maxima. Okay, the initial peak positive phase amplitude. How long does it take to get from 0 to that? And Pew Science measures at microsecond resolution in its current form. By the way, I heard some people talking about PewSoft and blah, blah, blah. Don't get it twisted. Pew Science is at 1 megasample per second right now, which is like, what is that? 4 times faster than like the nearest commercial system. And guess what? It can go like way faster I can go 20 times faster if I want than this. I'm only at a megahertz because I decided it was okay right now. Okay, I'm only doing this because I can, and I can do more. So don't play games and okay, I'm about to get upset. Okay, relax, Jay. Okay, the data's right. Moving on. The RC2 is an awesome silencer. It really is. The data's correct. It's actually, I didn't expect this silencer to be as quiet as it was. I didn't expect it to have a 37.8 suppression rating at the ear on a bolt gun. I didn't expect it for it to have a 27.7 suppression rating at the muzzle in 308. You realize what that means, right? Like, you guys know, like, what that means, right? That means that it's quieter than the rugged surge at the muzzle. It's not as quiet at the ear as the surge, but it's quiet at it's just as quiet at the muzzle as the surge is. The rugged surge in this long configuration, and it has such lower back pressure than the surge at the muzzle that, well, of course, in general, it has such lower back pressure that it's not even in the same sport. It's playing a different game than the surge. It's playing a different game than the Sandman TI, the Sandman L. It's playing a different game than the Thunder Beast, the Helios QD with a solid end cap. It's playing a different game than the Omega, than the Thunder Chicken. You know, this thing is almost as quiet at the muzzle as a Thunder Chicken. I mean, what in the world is happening in the Surefire silencer? I'll tell you what's happening inside the Surefire silencer. It's venting gas quickly. It's porting like there's no other time to port. I think it might have an annulus in there or something. It has a sleeve. I don't know. Have I looked inside? I think I did once. Have I been busy? Absolutely. Is someone going to chime in and tell me exactly what the SOCOM 762 RC2 looks like inside? Probably. Please do. I'm pretty sure it's shooting gas all over the place in there. All I know is it's quiet. And I'll talk, actually, you know what? Maybe when we get to the Hyperion K tonight, I'll talk a little bit about that. Because there's something I want to say about that, and then maybe we'll get to this, and I'll relate it back to that, and it'll be all wrapped up like a tight little package with a bow. Okay. I'm gonna buy a shirt. I'm gonna buy a SOCOM 762 RC2 probably, just based on historical significance for one. I'm about to be an SOT too. Shout out to the ATF. My dog. I don't have a dog. My fiance has a dog. It's a beautiful dog. I love that dog. Type 2 SOT baby. So manufacturer SOT. Frankly, it will be easy for me to get a SOCOM 762 RC2. Relatively easy. So I'm going to get one. One of the perks of being SOT, I don't have to pay the tax stamp. Okay. But there is a reason why I am about to have an SOT, and it's not for funsies. It's for work. It's for Pew Science. One of the reasons I'm going to buy this SOCOM is not just because I want to look at it because it's pretty or because it has low back pressure. It's because I want to shoot the crap out of it and follow a reasonable maintenance schedule on the mount. And I want to see if I can get it stuck and when that happens and why. And I'm going to do it and update you as I do it throughout 2021. I've decided to do this. Okay. I just decided actually this evening to do it. And if it doesn't get stuck, because I take care of this mount in some way that I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. If for some reason I'm able to do let's say I do a carbine course with my friends because they teach me how to shoot because I'm too busy to learn and train like a retard that I am. Let's say my friend Will at Magpul and I go shooting. Shout out to Will. He teaches me his ways of the gun, the way of the rifle. And we shoot together. He uses a Surefire because, he's Gucci. And let's say mine doesn't get stuck and his doesn't either. And I tell you guys about it. That's something you would want to know, right? Okay. I bet a ton you buy it, right? I would. If this thing works, dude, look, am I saying soldiers are idiots? No. Am I saying everyone that's had a problem with the Surefire mount is an idiot and didn't perform maintenance right? No. But I am saying I have seen people say they haven't had problems with it. So I'm like, what's different? What's going on? Is it that everyone is doing something wrong? Is it that there's a certain mount that's better? Someone told me that the brake mount versus the flash hider mount, not war comp, but brake versus flash hider with labyrinth seal, one of them gets stuck, one of them doesn't or something. I was like, really? I need to do some research on that. It might be the brake with the labyrinth seals doesn't get stuck as easily as the flash hider, maybe? I don't know. But I can tell you, here's an anecdotal. Is he going to get mad at me for saying this? You know what? Screw it. No, he's not, because he's a cool guy. Tyler at Silencer Shop. You know Tyler, right? He does a lot of he does a lot of stuff at Silencer Shop. You see him on the range time reports and stuff. He uses Surefire silencers on his rifles. Sure, he was in the military, but okay, but hey, I'm not saying that Surefire makes the best silencers. I did not say that. I'm not trying to sell you a silencer. I do not care what silencers you buy. I've said this many times. I'm just saying that I'm going to give it a shot because I have test data. I shot this silencer the first time. Look. Look. If this mount gets stuck and doesn't work, okay. That's what I'm going to tell you. Am I a soldier? No. Am I a crazy silencer person? Yes, absolutely. Do I care what you buy? No. Throw all your guns in the trash. Throw all your guns in the trash and move to California. And I don't care. It doesn't affect me, actually. I don't care what you do with your life. But I like cool stuff. And in the name of science and information transfer and distribution, I'm going to be the guinea pig for it. And I have data. You have data because I gave it to you. You have the data because I chose to give it to you. And But this data I have, I trust it because I measured it and I shot the guns. Okay? I shot this. I did this. I recorded this data. I computed the back pressure metric. I computed the suppression rating. I developed this algorithm. I'm testing this. I'm telling you, I trust my data. I trust my data so much that I use it for my own personal gun obsession. And when I'm telling you I'm interested in a silencer, I'm like being super transparent to you. There are also, actually, I'm going to tell you some other things about this silencer and Surefire. It's the soft skills, like the soft reasons that why I'm going to do, like maybe okay, what's another word for that? Non-quantitative, qualitative opinions or reasons. Okay, let's talk about that. Surefire was very cool to me. They were very nice to me, which is important to me. I'm an extrovert. I like to speak with people. I appreciate when they treat me well and they have a dialogue with me that's straightforward and honest. I take that as a respectful thing. I would think that people would confront me directly if they have a problem with me or if they want to have a dialogue with me. I want that direct. I'm a very direct person. I don't appreciate when someone like they have beef and then they don't squash the beef with me directly as a man. Like I look down on that. I think it's weak. I think it's childish and weak. Surefire's not like that. Okay? Like these guys are real dudes, like for real. Like respect. There's not a lot of people that I respect a lot in the silencer industry because for one, I don't know a ton of people. But for two, like there just haven't been a lot that I respect, like a lot, because I've noticed a lot of tomfoolery. Surefire does not exhibit tomfoolery with me. And some folks introduced me to Surefire. And the inventor of the silencer, his name is Barry Duke. He was really nice to me and polite and professional. And their head marketing man was very nice to me and very professional. And they had an hour-long conference call with me to talk about the first test in May. In May, I tested the Surefire silencer. I immediately reached out to my supplier of the silencer, where I got it from. They contacted Surefire immediately. Guys, like Surefire sent me alignment rods for my gun. They sent me a flash hider. Like I didn't know what to do. I wasn't going to publish that initial data. Like I didn't know what the heck was going on. I thought Surefire had like, for some reason, I thought the silencer was like high blowback or something, which is like different because the RC2 is marketed as low blowback apparently, which I didn't know. I actually didn't know anything about the Surefire silencers. People had told me they were loud, and I was like, really? Okay. So, like, I didn't know, and I was like, I shot this thing on a bolt gun, and I thought to myself, oh my God, the silencer blew gas into my face on the bolt gun. I even told some people, like not publicly, but like I told some people in private conversations, I was like, dude, I got blowback in my face with a Surefire. And they're like, yeah, Surefire sucks. Surefire has high blowback, is loud. And I was like, damn, Surefire does suck. Screw Surefire. And you know, I didn't say that, but I was like, man. But I was like, man, it must have such high back pressure that the mount leaked. That's what I thought. Like I didn't know what I was talking. I didn't know anything about except the one test. I had that test, right? So I looked at the data. I looked at the gas, the particulates that hit my face and my safety glasses. And how I was shoving my earplugs back into my ears. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what is happening? I've shot all these 30 caliber silencers on this 20-inch 308 bolt gun. This is the standard test house. This is standard test ammunition. This is the standard thing I've done. What am I doing wrong? What did I do? Did I break it? Did I break the silencer? Did I install the silencer incorrectly? Did I not put the mount on correctly? What did I do? What did I do? Like, I was so upset. I was like, this can't be right. What's happening? Turns out, Turns out the RC2 actually has extremely low back pressure, and the war comp mount is not meant for suppressed shooting all the time. It's meant for operators that shoot unsuppressed most of the time and competition shooters. And those folks that use silencers intermittently will use the war comp, and it means they're probably gonna have a hearing protection on anyway. And that's what Barry Duke explained to me. He said, "Hey, he invented the war comp. He said, hey, I made the war comp to do this and this, and that's what it does." And I said, okay. And I believed him because he was super professional with me, and he told me how he did the testing. And I was like, cool. And he was forthcoming, and we talked about a lot of other Surefire stuff, and I was like, that's awesome. We talked about the Surefire Optimized Bolt Carrier Group, which I had purchased at full retail price, by the way, from someone else. And I told him I had one. I told him what I was doing with it. And he was like, that's cool. I was like, yeah, it is cool. I like it. He's like, and then he told me more about that. And he told me some stuff about the Optimized Bolt Carrier Group that I didn't know. And he was like, yeah, and we're also going to do XYZ. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, wow. Totally forthcoming, totally professional, totally cool. I thanked Surefire, said thank you very much. Very good. This was way back. And then, like I said, after that, they sent me, by the way, I didn't ask them on the call. They're like, you know what we're going to do, Jay? We're going to send you some bore alignment rods. We're going to make sure that your host weapon's okay. It's very strange that you experienced that problem. We're going to send you that. We're going to send you a new mount, brand new, we're going to send you a flash hider. And maybe it's going to be different. Maybe results are going to be different. And I said, okay. And they did. They sent it to me. Like, I had it like the next week. I said, okay. I didn't ask them for that. They didn't owe me anything. Surefire didn't pay me anything for this review or anything. They didn't pay me to test anything. Like, I tested this completely independently, approached this company with results that were significantly concerning, and they completely went above and beyond with me. I'm not even a customer of theirs. Like, I didn't buy anything from Surefire. Like, they don't owe me. They could have told me to pound sand, and they didn't tell me to pound sand. They were data driven, and they were like, what's going on? They're like, we know the war comp will leak, but you don't need a war comp. You shouldn't use a war comp on a bolt gun. I was like, yeah, I know, dude. But I told them what I was doing. They was like, okay, well, try this mount. I did. Okay. So anyway, I'm not trying to make this into a Surefire commercial. What I'm trying to tell you is I'm going to try their silencer, and I can see if I can make it mess up. I'm going to see if I can screw up the mount. And I'm not going to treat it like crap. I'm going to treat it like I treat my guns and let you know what happens. I'm going to see if I can put it on my M16 and see if I don't like it or something. I think, I don't know. Surefire recommends to shoot your silencer off of your gun if it gets stuck. Like, they're like, rotate the locking collar to the unlocked position and shoot it downrange. Like, what in the actual F? Right? I mean, that's cool. Like, it's crazy, but they say it. I also know, hey, did you know that Surefire tests the living crap out of their stuff? Like, accuracy-wise, sound-wise, they test a lot of stuff. They don't have PewSoft. They don't have PewSoft or the capability to analyze data like I do, but they do analyze a lot of other data that they do have the capability to analyze. And I hear their facility is very nice, their test facility. They invited me out there post-COVID, so I'm going to, whenever that is, I don't know. If that invitation still stands, I'm going to take them up on it. Go out there. That's if they're not super mad at me after this review and podcast, which they very well could be angry with me. I don't know. We'll see. I'm honest. I think they'll appreciate that. I appreciate that they were honest. I respect the hell out of those guys. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the Surefire RC2 right now. It is supposed to be good for flash. I have been told the Knight's armament stuff is better for flash. I don't know if that's true. I really don't know. It is low low back pressure and it has good suppression. You can see that in the data. Those are just numbers. Look, is it as quiet as at the ear, or quiet as some of these other silencers? No. I mean, it's quieter than some of these silencers at the muzzle, which means, and it has low back pressure, which means on a gas gun, guess what, fam? It's going to be superior to a lot of these silencers on a gas gun. So that's crazy. You know what? Real quick, it's okay. It's late, but I want to go on another aside. A lot of you have asked me, some of the members via email and also via DM, and also like non-members, just in general, they say to me, even on ARFCOM of all places, they say to me, when are you going to test gas guns? That's really more relevant. You're alienating users. I'm paraphrasing an ARFCOM comment that I got recently. You're alienating users by not testing gas guns. I said, okay, well, first of all, I am testing gas guns. You just haven't seen the data. Second of all, we are testing pure suppression, which is important. And if I tested gas guns and not a bolt gun, then there'd be people saying I'm alienating bolt gun users. Okay, so I'm not alienating anyone. First of all, I'm doing the science correctly. Second of all, you have a back pressure metric. If I never wanted to test a gas gun, I wouldn't. The only reason I'm going to test a gas gun is to show you the suppression rating is bad for you, so you should put earplugs on. If you want to just buy a silencer based on the back pressure metric and suppression rating at the muzzle for this bolt gun test, then do that. It's going to be accurate. Tune your gun, or just tune your gun. Get the quietest silencer and tune your gun. I mean, what do you want from me? Like, I know that's I don't know if that's rude to say, but frankly, like, I'm going to get to the gas gun stuff. I haven't yet. There's a lot to do. And right now, you have enough data that if you need a silencer right this second, I'm sorry, but there is so much damn data published on pewsilence.com right now. If you can't pick a silencer, I'm sorry. Like, pick a silencer. Like, dude, right now, like, you're gonna see more. But right now, I'm here to tell you, if you're looking for a quiet silencer or you're looking for a durable silencer, you have so many choices that are on that website from major manufacturers that, like, we haven't tested everything. But if you keep waiting for me to test something, and I don't know, I don't want to tell you to buy anything, but it's like, holy crap, dude. I'm gonna make a ranking section for the website to help you. I want to make sure to help you. I want to make sure that you understand the data better. I know that it's hard to read it all. I know that, like, waiting for like figure 7 in each review is cumbersome. I know that waiting through all the data is cumbersome. I've talked to a lot of people about that. I've talked to a lot of people, some of my friends, some consumers. They said, "Hey, dude, like, your site's great, but like it's just a lot." I was like, I know. But I also told them that I had to do it like this because if I didn't do it like this, then it only takes one person to come and then they make a post on a public forum and they say, well, Jay doesn't know what he's talking about because he didn't consider XYZ. And then what? Then no one trusts it because they can't see the data. So I did what I thought was right and I showed you everything. I am the only person in the history of suppressed small arm sound testing independently that has published complete pressure and impulse waveforms measured at the muzzle and ear publicly. And I would venture to say, at all. So, I have literally given you more than anybody in the history of the world. The entire human race. No one has done this before. So, I've done that. And after that part, which I'm going to continue to do, I'm not going to stop this part, but what I'm saying is, after this, I'm going to summarize it in a way that is easier to digest. And you're going to start to see things like the suppression rating, and we're not going to talk about decibels anymore in the common vernacular. because we don't need to, because decibels are misleading for loudness. We're going to talk about the suppression rating because it takes into account peak sound pressure, duration of sound pressure, which is directly related to peak positive phase impulse. We're going to talk about sound frequency. We're going to talk about inner ear response. It's all wrapped up in the suppression rating, and it's one number. And then it is the standard, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, where am I now? Oh, right. The flash. Yeah, I don't know. Nights might be better. I don't know yet. Frankly, I haven't tested night silencer yet, but you bet your butt I'm going to because they're pretty. Also, Surefire has short versions of the RC2. They also have a 556 model, and Surefire told me, they said, Andrew from Surefire, he said, hey man, the suppression on a 556, let's talk about this 556 host stuff. He said, hey, the 556 Surefire RC2, the difference between it and the 762 RC2 is a wash because there's more volume, but then tighter bore. And he said something about it being a wash. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to test that. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to test it. I'm going to tell you what the suppression rating is because I'm going to test both of these on a 556. We're going to see which one wins. That's going to be a popular one because I think a lot of people obviously these are used for gas guns. So I'm testing on AR308. I can't test the 556 version on that, but anyway, God, there's so many damn tests to do. If more people join Pew Science, I could just do this full time, and then I'd get you more data, and it'd be even better. So all you guys that are like, man, I wish that Jay would just do this, and I wish that Jay join Pew Science, and if you already have, tell your friends to join. And if enough people join, then I won't have to do my day job anymore, and then I'll just do this. It's going to take a lot of you to join. I don't know if that's even possible, but you never know. Okay. In summary, I will say Surefire, it has so much lower back pressure than other full-size silencers, and it does so dang well. I almost have to buy one now. And just as a silencer person, I don't consider myself a collector, but I think I have to get one. And compare it to the Sandman S. Compare it to the Sandman L. It's actually almost as quiet at the ear on the bolt gun as the L, which is so must be a frequency thing. But it's quieter at the muzzle. So wild. So crazy. It's an extreme outlier in the market. It is an extreme outlier in the market. It's an extreme. I want it. All right, let's shift gears. Sound signature. Yeah, topic 2. Ooh. Oh my God, I almost forgot. Okay, we're an hour in. Hour and 3 minutes. Holy hour and 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Oh my, I'm never going to bed tonight. Sound signature review, 627. This is topic 2. This is the CGS Hyperion. What in the actual F? Alien technology. We're shifting gears hardcore. This is a completely different silencer. I need a drink of water. Oh my God. All right, we just talked about the Surefire 762 RC, SOCOM 762 RC2. What is the Hyperion? I don't know. This is going to be difficult for me to talk about because I didn't anticipate having to talk about this so early. This silencer actually has been out for quite some time, but the one I tested is actually new. It's the new version of the Hyperion. Now, let me before I go on, let me say something real quick about this. So, these are CGS results. This review, the publication of this review, marks the first time Pew Science has published private contracted test data publicly. Okay? The data you see published was generated as part of a private test program for CGS by Pew Science. This was contracted work. Okay, I'm being very transparent with you. That is in the spirit of the Silence or Sound standard, as is shown on the website. This is a big deal. This shows fully transparent public test lab data. Okay, this is a test lab publishing data that is a property of a client to the world. And this is for the first time in the silencer industry this has occurred, to my knowledge. I don't know. Look, there might be government labs that have done this, or published papers after testing military small arms. You know how sometimes, and believe me, I know about this because I work in an industry in which this happens, where sometimes you partner with an industry vendor that creates a product, you perform work for them, and you both write a paper together to advertise their product, at the same time advertise your analytical prowess and pedigree and academic rigor. This is a very common thing that happens. It happens actually, you know what, if you look, you can actually Google this. I found it once many years ago. B&K, they make sound measurement stuff, whatever. They actually, was it Gross? Maybe it wasn't B&K. You know what? It might not be in B&K. It was probably another company, another European sound measurement company. They partnered with somebody to publish a paper on firearm sound because they wanted to showcase their instrumentation. They wanted to say, oh, look what we can measure. And so the sound engineer or whatever they call themselves, published a paper, and it's not really a publication. It's more of an advertisement. And they published this. They used a high-speed data acquisition system. It wasn't a field portable system. It was a laboratory-grade system they put out in the field just for the purposes of using their microphones at high speed. It was just very simple what they did, and they published that. But that was a partnership. So that's not what this is. That's not what Pew Science has done. Pew Science didn't do that. What Pew Science has done is we are an independent test laboratory, and we test things publicly, and we also test things privately, and sometimes the private data gets released like this. Okay? So, in the history of small arms, to my knowledge, this is the first time this has happened. If you know that this has happened at any time, email tech@pewscience.com and tell me about it so I can know. Because otherwise, I'm going to go on record and saying I'm the first person to do this. And I'll give it a month, and then I'm putting it on LinkedIn. No, I'm not. But Al Paulson did silencer tests, but he didn't do this. Right? Someone's going to correct me. If there's anyone that's going to correct me, it's going to be Josh from CGS. He corrects me on literally everything. Okay, hold on. I'm losing my voice. Okay. Look, I just wanted to highlight this really quick, this achievement, because this work is helping CGS with their R&D. And that means Pew Science is working. Okay? Full stop. Back to the Hyperion. The Hyperion is, to my knowledge, the quietest supersonic 30 caliber rifle silencer in the world by a significant margin. And I want you to let that sink in for a moment. It's not quieter by a little bit. I'm going to pull up the review because I don't want to say something incorrect to you. Yes, okay. The overall suppression rating is 52.3. The ear rating is 51.7. The muzzle rating is 41.7. Let me put this in perspective for you. The muzzle rating, 1 meter left of the weapon muzzle. Okay, that means when in silencer testing, It is 1 meter left of the silencer end cap. We don't test behind the silencer. That's not what we do. We test this mil standard location. 1 meter left of the silencer end cap. That rating is 41.7. Okay? Okay. Keep that in your mind. That's in the 40s. That's into the 40 zone on the suppression rating chart. You know what else has been in the 40s so far that you've seen? In the 308 bolt action reviews? The ear ratings of the other silencers. The Q Thunder Chicken has an ear rating of 41.2. The Hyperion is quieter at the muzzle than the Thunder Chicken is at the ear on a bolt gun. Do you understand? Like, if you've been in the silencer game for a long time, you understand how crazy. That's insane. It's insane. Do you understand? Like, okay, let's think about that. Okay, the Sandman TI, the titanium version of the Sandman, that means the stellite baffles with the titanium tube, the quietest Sandman that Dead Air sells that they make, is 41.3 at the ear. Still louder than the Hyperion is 1 meter left of the muzzle of the end cap. The Rugged Surge is 42.7 at the ear. Okay, so that's a point higher than the Hyperion is at the muzzle. A point. Okay, suppression rating point's pretty good. But a point? Look, man. They're not directly comparable now. The muzzle and the ear rating, and keep in mind, the ear rating is actually a little bit conservative due to the head reflections. It's very complicated, actually, and I'm just don't even worry about that. But what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to put this in perspective now. At the ear, the Hyperion is above 50. It's above 50 at the ear now. It's 51.7 at the ear on the bolt gun. That's in the 50 zone. So at the muzzle, you're in the 40 zone. In the ear, you're in the 50 zone? Guys, you know what's in the 50 zone? You know what's at the 50 zone in the reviews you've seen? Muzzle numbers for 9mm pistols. You ever stood next to someone shooting a silenced 9mm pistol? Not shooting it yourself, but you ever stood next to someone shooting a good 9mm pistol? That's the 50 zone. With subsonic ammo? That's a 308 at the ear with the Hyperion. That's a full range day for you. That's a full range day. That means if you put your Hyperion on your 20-inch 308 bolt gun and you go shooting, you really might not even take your hearing protection out of your range bag, frankly. I mean, sure, there are some factors that could change that. I mean, for example, if you're close to the ground or other reflecting surfaces, a wall next to you, a shipping container, whatever you're next to at the range, whatever. I'm not your doctor. That's quiet. The Hyperion is definitely a silencer, in my personal opinion. I would feel comfortable using on a bolt gun to teach a new shooter how to shoot with no hearing protection. That's how quiet it is. Does that make sense to you? Does that put that in perspective? Am I saying you should do that? I'm not your doctor. No, I'm not saying you should do that. What I'm saying is, would I do it? Yeah, I would. I would. I'm not saying you should, but I would. It's quiet. The sonic crack, you're going to hear the sonic crack. You can't get around that. It's supersonic. Dude, the muzzle blast. Bro, the muzzle blast is suppressed. You've never heard a silencer like this. And I can tell you that unequivocally. You can see the test. I mean, it's the impulse generated at it's so low. Look at the peak dB numbers too, though. This is actually a great opportunity to talk about this. 141.1 average at the muzzle for the Hyperion. The Thunder Beast Ultra 9 was 142.3 decibel average at the muzzle. Okay. Remember when people tried to tell you that a 1 decibel difference wasn't a big deal? Those people not only don't understand what a decibel is, They think peaks are the only thing that matters. So don't listen to those people. Because when people talk about things like, well, it's about a dB difference, don't even entertain it. Now, when you hear someone say, that's about a dB difference, I don't even want you to think about what they're saying. I want you to stop listening to them. Because I want you to shoot an Ultra 9 from Thunder Beast, and then I want you to shoot a Hyperion on the same gun on the same day with the same ammo side by side. That's what I want you to do. Okay? You do that. You go do that. They're going to be about a 1 decibel difference, and the suppression rating is going to be way different for the Hyperion. It's going to be way quieter. Okay? This is the time when you get to test J. I'm putting it all out there for you. I'm hanging it all out. I'm standing in front of the world right now, and I am telling you to do this. You've seen the test data. The test data is on pewscience.com. Okay? I'm not removing it if I'm wrong. It's there. If it's wrong, if the test data is wrong, I would publish a retraction, but the test data is there. I'm doing this before you've shot it. It's like the ultimate test, right? Of Pew Science integrity. Shoot the silencers. There's some people that own both these silencers, right? Or who shot both of them. You know who one of those people? Who some of those people are? CGS. And I'm pretty sure Thunder Beast has at least heard of Hyperion. I don't think they've shot the new one. They probably shot the old one. The old one's probably still quieter than the Ultra 9. The suppression rating is over 10 points higher at the muzzle with the Hyperion than the Ultra 9. 10 points, guys. That's category jumping performance. That's category jumping performance at the muzzle. Suppression rating scale is not linear because the shot dose scale is non-linear. You can see that in Section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard. If you would like to go look at that, I say that, and I said that from the beginning. And you know why it's like that? I had a conversation with an industry pioneer about this past week, and he told me that my suppression rating can be confusing because it's like the Richter scale. I told him that he's correct. He's very correct about that. It is confusing. But we have to use the logarithm because that's why the decibel is on a logarithmic scale, because the human beings cannot comprehend jumps. And that's why when you look at the suppression rating scale and you get into the 70 range, for example, it says extremely high volume fire. Yeah, that's like you're spraying cases of ammunition. I had to put it on 0 to 100 because I needed to have you understand a scale you could understand. Okay. 10 points higher once you're already in the 40s is retarded. It's retarded. 10 points different once you're above 40 is retarded in quiet. The 1 decibel difference at the muzzle of the Hyperion on average and the Thunder Beast Ultra 9, the same gun with the same ammunition, that it's a lot different now, right? Because when you shoot these silencers, you're going to be able to tell. I promise. If this data doesn't convince you that peak DB numbers don't tell the whole story and they're worthless, I don't know what will, frankly. I measured at a mega sample, guys. A mega sample per second. This is the fastest, and it's not, look, I can go to 20. We can go to 20 mega samples if we need to. We can go, actually, theoretically, I can go faster than that. Theoretically. There's no need to go faster right now because I don't want to, but I'm telling you, we went at a mega sample. We're a sample unfiltered, and for those of you still arguing about that, that means unweighted, but truly unweighted and unfiltered. Not the unweighted like you pretend your meter's unweighted. You say you're doing unweighted. All you guys measuring silencers, you say you're using Z weighting, which is unweighted. It's not. It's still filtered. You don't know what you're doing. Look, this is unweighted, unfiltered, raw data at a microsecond. I'm telling you it's a decibel difference, roughly. Or call it 2 if you want to get brave. Whatever. What I'm telling you is that it's so much quieter that if you're going to be able to tell with your naked ear without a meter, which means that you're wrong about every time you talked about a decibel being imperceptible, because it's not about decibels. It's not about the peak. The peak is a transient, and you're measuring it very quickly, and things happen over time, and there's a lot of peaks. Now look at the impulse. The impulse is at the muzzle, 116.7 decibel millisecond versus 122 decibel millisecond. Now you see what is that, over 6 decibels difference? Decibel milliseconds difference? Does that get your attention now? Okay. Much larger difference in impulse at the muzzle than peak pressure. Okay. If you're a Pew Science member, you look at the ear numbers then. The members will see that the Ultra 9 has a lot higher pressure than the Hyperion at the ear. But the impulse is similar. So they're flipped. See how things can change because of reflections on the head, because of the wave frequency, because of different things. You're just... See how things can vary? The way the silencer releases gas, the durations involved, the delay, not only how fast the gas comes out of you think the gas doesn't just come out of the silencer all at once. It has to get out of the silencer and then something happens. It comes at a different rate. Is that rate constant? No, it's not constant. The rate of flow out of a silencer is not a steady state flow. It doesn't have time to reach steady state flow in the time regime that matters for your ear. You know why? Because it's so freaking fast, and there's something called blowdown. So you're not reaching steady state. Throw everything out the window that you considered to be true regarding steady state noise, like the OSHA limits, like I don't know, anything you've been told by anybody about sound that doesn't understand fast transients. I feel like, look, I'm not mad. I'm not angry right now. I'm just like, I feel like I've been telling people this for such a long time, and now I'm so excited that like I get to show you a silencer that okay, let me back up. The Helios QD, remember when I released that data and people were like, oh, that's quiet. I'm like, yeah, I know. But like the peaks, like, you didn't jive. You're like, wait, but I thought it's because of the timing of the peaks, and it's because of the wave shapes. The wave shapes matter. The sound signature matters. It's not just how high the peak sound pressure is. It's when the peak occurs, how many peaks occur, what the phase relationships are, what the timing is. In other words, the frequency. The frequency components of the waveforms are very important. Your ear is not a linear response transfer function mechanism. Your ear does not understand ones and zeros linearly. Your ear has its own frequencies of vibration. The ligaments of your ear respond in a way that is not directly proportional to pressure amplitude. Okay? So, where I almost got lost. Did I get lost? I get lost. Yeah, you need the suppression rating, I guess, is what I'm trying to tell you here. And I'm excited because you get to see why you need it, and you get to use it because you get to shoot this silencer. You know what? There's some people that shot some CGS silencers at this lady, like Big Daddy Unlimited. Is that a thing? Big Daddy Unlimited? They're like a distributor or something in East Coast, Georgia. Is that? I don't know. I some people shot CGS products. I saw on the book face on the Facebook there. Mike Pappas from Dead Air, he commented on, no, I'm sorry, was it Mike? It might have been Mike or McKeith from Dead Air, and then plus there was like Mike Smith from AAC, or Dead Air 2. He works at Dead Air 2 now. He used to work at AAC. Mike Smith said, "Hey, I listened to the 50 caliber CGS silencer all day. It sounded like a 308 silencer on a 308 gun. It was a 50 cal." He's talking about a CGS can. You know what that is? That's a scaled up Hyperion. That's this silencer that I'm talking about right now, just bigger. And Mike Smith, you know what he did? He invented the K baffle. Well, he didn't invent the K baffle, but he basically did the pistol cans for Advanced Armament Corporation. Well, not all of them, but some of them, right? Yeah. You think he knows what he's talking about? Probably. He probably knows what he's talking about. So he's saying that about the CGS stuff. And I'm telling you the suppression rating's saying that stuff too. So go shoot him. And then maybe you'll believe the suppression rating. Not that people are sitting here telling me they're doubting it, because no one has, because everyone that's shot silencers knows it's right. But in case you're listening to this and you had a question about it, now you know. And this suppression rating is now the standard for this reason. You cannot use just the peaks. And there's going to be people that still, you go to ARFCOM, you're going to see manufacturers post decibel numbers. It's irrelevant to you. Don't look at that unless you want wrong data. Please. And if you, and you can, I mean, okay, look, I'm not going to try to be a dick. What I'm saying is like, relax. I don't even know what more I can tell you. For all the people that bought the Hyperion, congratulations, man. You got the quietest supersonic rifle silencer that we've tested. I mean, could there be quieter? Probably. I don't know. Like, hey, the Thunder Beast 338 Ultra. What if that's quieter? It might be. Might not be. It might be bigger. That's why I'm saying it might be quieter. I don't know. I mean, there could be some stuff I don't know about that's quieter. Like, I haven't tested. Look. What, we're on review 28 or something. Like, there's no way. Like, I haven't tested everything. It's 1:30 in the morning right now, and I'm talking about like 28 tests I've released to you. I don't know, man. Like, I don't have time for like everything yet, but I will say this is the quietest. Like, people ask me all the time. They DM me. They say, "Hey Jay, what silencer should I buy?" I say, I'm not going to tell you what silencer to buy, because then you're going to blame me if you don't like it. I say, look at the data. What do you need? And we talk about it. And then I say, well, this might be better for you, or blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I think those of you who bought the Hyperion are probably, I want one. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's unequivocally retarded. It's a retarded silencer. I actually didn't think I was going to talk about this one yet, because I wanted to be a surprise. I wanted to be like, hey, let me show you some other stuff first, and that way you won't see this one yet, and then maybe it'll mean more to you or something. But like, you've seen most of the stuff from the major companies. Like, you've now seen Surefire, Dead Air, Rugged, Q, Energetic. I might be forgetting something, but like, you've seen like flagship silencers. You haven't seen all of them. Like, you haven't seen the full Nelson. You haven't seen. But look, dude, this Hyperion in the supersonic flow regime. Come on, man. Like, I don't know. CGS owns the data that you see. They paid for me to test it. Member funding helped make this happen too. I mean, read the disclaimer in the review. Go to the review. I can read it right now. I can read you the disclaimer. It says, Pew Science is an independent private testing laboratory and also the world's only publicly funded suppressed small arms research cooperative. That is true. Testing, data analysis, and reporting is generated with funding provided by Pew Science members. That is true. Any test data that is generated with any portion of private funding contains this disclosure. This is true. The testing and data production for the sound signature review was funded in part by Pew Science project number PEW-CGS-006-001-20. That is the contract number, or not the contract number, but that's the project number for Pew Science for this effort. Therefore, data pertaining to the Hyperion in the sound signature review is published with the express written permission of CGS Group LLC. There it is, black and white. That's CGS's data that's public for you, because CGS wanted you to have it because they thought that people should see how good their silencer is, and I agreed to put it on my website because I generated the data and it's right. So there you go. Okay. Super light silencer. It's less than a pound. It's 3D printed titanium. 25 degree SIG Q taper, 5/8 24 threading. Vents gas to an outer annulus with the Hyperion technology. You can change the end cap. You can use, if you want, you can vent it if you want. You can use muzzle adapters to put on half 28 guns too. You can shoot 300 Norma mag through it all day long. You can shoot 6.5 through it on 22-inch bolt gun, and like it's even quieter. And you don't never wear heat protection with that. I'll publish that data. You can see that it's even quieter. It's retarded. I'm gonna buy one. Probably. For sure. I'm going to buy a Surefire. I'm going to buy this. Too. For a different reason. Because I want the quietest silencer in the world. The rifle silencer. Yeah. Like if you talk to any silencer guy and tell them, oh, the quietest silencer in the world just came out, but I don't want it. Okay. Well. That would be a lie. Like I told Josh and Bobby at CGS, like, I'm probably going to put this on a lot of my guns. It has nothing to do with the fact that, like, they're a Pew Science client, test client. I don't care at all. Like, why would I put that on my gun if I didn't want it? Like, that'd be stupid. Like, I can buy whatever I want. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure you guys, I'm not blowing your skirt up. Like, I don't know how else to tell you. Anyway. You know what's interesting about this? No one that I know of that owns a first generation Hyperion has said anything to me except this is the quietest rifle silencer ever. I'll quote, I'm gonna blow up someone's spot. Hey, you know that guy at Alabama Arsenal? You know Alabama Arsenal. They have a pretty big YouTube channel, or at least it needs to be big because he makes nice videos. I like he's a nice shooter too. He's a pretty good shooter. He told me the Hyperion's quietest rifle silencer he's ever shot. And I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. I trust that guy. Because that guy has done some things to make me trust him. He's earned my trust. And he told me that his Hyperion, the Hyperion's quietest rifle silencer he's ever shot. Okay. It's the quietest rifle silencer I've ever shot too. Okay. Now you got two data points. You know, if you really, you know what's really crazy, and but this is before someone goes and talks mess about this. If you really want to, and I say this because I think this is important to know, if you really wanted to, and if your threads were perfectly concentric to the bore, like perfect, you could shoot 338 through the silencer. Because that's how big the bore is, I think. Pretty sure. Check with CGS, but it doesn't even have a tight bore. That's how crazy the Hyperion is. It could be, they can make it quieter in other ways, but they could make it even quieter just by making the bore smaller if they wanted. Think about that. They don't have to cheat. That's how good the Hyperion technology is. Okay. It's alien technology. Extreme market outlier. Like the Surefire RC2, extreme market outlier. The Hyperion, extreme market outlier. For a different reason, right? Both outliers. Okay. So what happens when you shrink down the Hyperion? What happens when you make it smaller? Next topic. Okay, where are we at now? We're at 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 43 seconds. Oh, wait. Oh, wow. I totally spaced. 1 hour, 34 minutes, 54 seconds. Oh, my God. All right. No problem. We're in the AM. We're going to do this. We're trucking right along. Topic 3, Sound Signature Review 628, the Hyperion K. CGS Hyperion K 628. I'm going to click on the review. Yeah. Internet's still up. That's a good sign. Okay, they made the Hyperion smaller. Hyperion K. How much smaller? How much smaller did they make it? Well, they went from like a 9-inch silencer to a 6-inch silencer, basically. 15 ounces to 10 ounces, right? Or 10 and a half ounces. Okay. What do you give up? What do you give up when you make the Hyperion smaller? You give up suppression is what you give up, because this is Earth, and the way physics work at this time is that you give it up some suppression. How much do you give up? You give up more than I thought you would. You give up more suppression than I thought you would. Honestly, I think you gave up more suppression than a lot of people thought you would. And there's some reasons for that. At first, I was like, what the heck? But then I started to understand more about the design after talking with CGS, and I was like, okay, I know why. Okay. 37.3 overall suppression rating on the 308 bolt gun. It's very important. What does that mean? That means that this silencer is almost as quiet as a Silencer Co. Omega. Almost. But it has the back pressure of the Sandman K. Okay. The Hyperion, let me say that again. Just like, I know. I just talked about two. Look, we're almost an hour and 40 minutes in. I just spent the past hour and 40 minutes talking about two silencers that were extreme market outliers. First, you had the Surefire with its crazy low back pressure and good suppression. Then you had the Hyperion, which is crazy quiet. Now the Hyperion K from CGS, it is almost as quiet as the Omega, and it has the back pressure of at the ear. It has the back pressure of the Sandman K. What in the actual F is happening? Like, this is podcast. Like, I don't care that it's super late at night or early morning, because I almost didn't do the podcast. Like, I didn't do a podcast last week because I was so damn spent from all the work I've been doing for Pew Science. But I had to do this before the holidays. I needed you to know about these silencers. This is so incredibly insane to me. Like, I don't even understand. It flies in the face of everything we understood about the silencers to date, because they're different. I'm almost disappointed. Should I say that? Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say it. I'm almost disappointed that a lot of the silencers we've tested are so similar to each other. But at the same time, I'm not disappointed, because it shows that how little variations in design changes the performance. And now you see how a radical design change can change the performance. The Q silencers are very different than like the Rugged, the Dead Air, and the Silencer Co. Because the Silencer Co. and Rugged and Dead Air are the same rifle silencers. They're all the same. They're just the spacing of the bavels is different, and the port is different in the middle, and then the bore. The bore is different, and then like the little shape, but they're the same silencers. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills right now. Like, you guys know, like the Omega baffle, like, okay, a true Omega baffle has a coaxial chamber. A copy of an Omega baffle that's half right is like a curved cone, and then you use those and you almost get the performance, but you don't quite get the performance of an Omega baffle. But then, so those are all the same. I mean, look, different mounts, different durability. They're different enough to where like they're different products at different companies, so people talk about them different way and they perform different ways. But like, if like everyone was driving a car and they're like, wow, that's a car, that's a Hyundai, that's a Honda, that's a Kia, they're all the same car. right? I mean, yeah, they're different cars, but like they all have four wheels. But like the Hyperion is a Tesla. You know what I mean? Or like that's such a bad analogy. What I was trying to say is like the Surefire stuff is way different. The Q stuff is way different. The CGS stuff is way different. I'm not saying anyone's better than the others. I'm saying you have this commonality of curved cone BS. It's not BS, but curved cone stuff. It's all the same. And the Hyperion has some elements of that for sure. So definitely has some element. The Hyperion technology definitely has some elements of coaxial curved cone stuff. It definitely has some, but it's different and a lot different. And it's so different that it is challenging the way we look at parameters and relationships in the data. And the Surefire did that too. Because of the porting and the way it works. And I'm sorry that, and I'm apologizing because I hope I didn't give the impression that it was impossible to have decent sound suppression with low back pressure. I didn't mean that. I meant that when you have low back pressure, your silencer is louder, which it is. You've seen that. The Surefire is louder because it has low back pressure. The Hyperion K is louder because it has low back pressure. But you apparently can make really good strides in sound suppression with low back pressure. And look, the Hyperion K is louder at the muzzle than the Omega and the Surefire, but at the ear it's close. And the back pressure is even lower than the Surefire. I was actually confused. Like when I first tested it, I think I thought CGS was messing with me. Like I thought they were testing me. Like they were like, hey, like because they didn't tell me about the Hyperion K, like really what it was before I tested it. And I don't know if because they didn't understand or it was just me that I didn't understand. I think maybe they knew what was going to happen, but I didn't know. And I thought that the Hyperion K was a direct thread Helios QD. Turns out it's not. It's the same as the direct thread Helios, but the Helios QD is different. And I didn't test the Helios direct thread until I tested the Hyperion with it. And you haven't seen the Helios direct thread data yet, but you will. The Helios direct thread and the Hyperion K are the same silencer, but it's just a different mount thread. Like the Helios direct thread doesn't have a taper; it's half 28. The Hyperion K is tapered 5/8 24, and so I thought the Helios QD was the same as the Hyperion K. Like I thought the Helios QD and the Helios DT were the same, but they're not the same silencer. The Helios QD has a completely different rear mount geometry, which causes gas to flow differently to the special sauce in the outer annulus. And turns out, makes a huge difference, and not for the reason you think. It's not just, oh, there's more volume. Volume is one part of it. But, oh man, get off this volume train, gentlemen. I don't even want to talk about that right now. It's okay. It's a common misconception. A lot of folks who ask about mount differences all the time, they want to know what the differences between flash hiders and brakes are and the quietness. And I know I showed you the data Sandman TI versus Sandman L, and you thought that was a big difference. But there's a lot of other reasons too. The Helios, the Hyperion technology that's in the CGS rifle silencers, it vents gas to the outer annulus and it does it fast. And there are some things that CGS is looking into that we can't go into right now. But I look, there's a limit to what I can tell you because of NDAs. But Josh Parker designed this, and the CGS guys, they're not done innovating with this. This is like so exciting. Oh, what a time to be alive. The Hyperion K gets you, look, it gets you lower sound suppression than the Helios QD for the time being. Okay, I just want to say that. With the back pressure that is retarded low. Okay? Okay. It's so low, it doesn't even seem real. It doesn't even make sense to me, but don't take my word for it. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to look at the data. I'm on the public review right now. I want you to look at figure. This is Sound Signature Review 628 on pewscience.com. Look at figure 4. Is it 4? 4A, perfect. Okay. Sound Signature Review 628, figure 4A. Figure 4A. These are the muzzle impulse waveforms. Okay? You with me? If you're driving in your car, I'm sorry. I can't describe this to you. It looks like a triangle. You're like, what? Relax. Write it down, bookmark it, tell your friends, tell Siri, tell your Google lady in the Google phone, hey, 4A, muzzle impulse waveforms. Notice the extremely fast rise time to peak impulse. That means the first initial slope of those curves. Notice how it's vertical, pretty much. It's not vertical. It's sharp. It's not quite vertical, but it's quick. It's pretty quick on the scale that I've chosen to use. It's fast. Now, look at the decay time. By decay time, I mean the slope. It's a bilinear. It's a bilinear shape to this impulse it's not a function. Impulse waveform. First, it goes up super quick. I'm gonna dumb this down. It goes up super quick, and it takes a while to go down to zero. The slope is more gentle than typical for such a low back pressure silencer. Okay. This is something I noticed in the data late in the game as I was performing the analysis for this review. I actually mentioned this to the CGS. I find it to be interesting. I'm actually understanding more about back pressure, and this is very important. So keep with me. It goes up quick. It goes down slow. Now, keep that in mind. CGS Hyperion K. Okay, got it. Now look at the Dead Air Sandman K. Again, go to the Dead Air Sandman K Sound Signature Review 615. Okay, that was 13 reviews ago. This was from July 2nd. I published this. Scroll down, figure 4A on that. Same figure. I kept the review format the same for a reason, folks. I know it looks boring sometimes. I'm doing this to help you. Okay, Dead Air Sandman K, figure 4A. You with me? Figure 4A in the Hyperion K. And then figure 4A in the Dead Air Sandman K. So notice how the rise time is very, very similar. I can tell you that it's actually on average the exact same because I give you the same back pressure metric. Okay, it's not only similar, it's identical within the rounding error. And look at the decay time of the Sandman K. It's actually quick and different shaped. It's quicker and differently shaped. It not only does it happen more quickly, it has a reverse slope. It has a concavity as it approaches zero, whereas the Hyperion K is almost pseudo-linear in the second part of the bilinear distribution. So what does that mean? It means, frankly, the Hyperion K and the Sandman K both dump gas out of their end cap extremely quickly, but the Hyperion K throttles it. It throttles the gas dump. The flow rate changes. The flow rate slows down. This is happening very quickly. Okay, look at the time regimes. We're talking, this entire impulse positive phase is occurring in about roughly between 3 and 4 milliseconds. Okay. In this 3 to 4 millisecond time regime, what is occurring is a flow rate change. Okay. This is because this is the data. This is right here. This is the flow rate change. This is what it is. It is what it is. And yeah. I guess that's I don't even. I'm sorry. I got mentally lost for a second. Oh yeah. So the Hyperion K, it dumps the gas really fast, but then it slows down. It throttles it. What does that mean? What happens when? Okay, let me back up. What happens when you dump gas really fast at first, but then you slow it down slightly? You make it quieter. The gas came out fast at first, but then it didn't let it all out as fast. What does that mean? It means it has low initial flow restriction with higher late time flow restriction. That means that it's the behavior of the Hyperion K and the Sandman K have similar early time behavior, but different late time behavior. And when I say early time versus late time, I'm talking about time 0 versus 4 milliseconds later. When I say late time, I'm saying 4 milliseconds later, which is when you're talking about microsecond precision and time regimes, 4 milliseconds is forever later. Okay. I think. This is theoretical, frankly, but I put it on a gas gun. It was low back pressure. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's dynamic analysis. That's what it is. This is why Pew Silencer wrote the Silencer Sound Standard. This is why I developed PewSoft. I may not know exactly what's going on in the silencer, but I know exactly what I measured, and I know exactly where this data is coming from. And I can tell you right now, the Hyperion K is quieter than the Sandman K by a lot, by a whole lot. It is way quieter than the Sandman K. And it has the same back pressure, pretty much. Okay, that's it. So CGS did it, and apparently, frankly, it's like, am I yelling at you? Sometimes I feel like I yell at you. They did it with the same silencer as the Helios QD that you already saw, but they did it with a solid end cap with the different rear geometry. I'm telling you guys, CGS took the same look, guys, it's the same damn silencer with a different rear mount geometry. What does that mean? You're going to have to wait and see what it means. I can't tell you everything. But I can tell you that for the folks listening that are smart about silencer design, it means that you can shape flow with the Hyperion technology in a way that never, ever in the history of the world have you seen. Unless I'm missing something and I don't know. I just bought that damn silencer patent book thing from eBay or Amazon. It's volume 1. It's old. It's out of date. It has an interview. Al Paulson wrote the foreword. Look, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. But I know a thing about thing or two. I don't know what the heck is going on, man. I didn't know you could do that, frankly. I didn't know that if you shove gas in to a different thing first, it would make such a difference. Apparently it does. But when you think about it, it's cool. I mean, because you're like, oh, well, now I can shove gas here, and then I can do that, and then maybe I hook it up later. Dude, look at the cutaway. You can see it posted online. Josh posts that stuff, dude. It's wild. It's special. Market outlier? This is the third silencer I've talked about today in this podcast. Is it another market outlier? Absolutely. Recurring theme, baby. Yes. CGS Hyperion K is absolutely a market outlier in performance and design. Could they make it out of 3D printed Inconel instead of titanium? Yeah. Obviously, the Helios QD is 3D printed Inconel. Does this make low back pressure silencers like the Sandman K obsolete? With Inconel, yeah, absolutely. Sandman K, it's really stellite baffles, super hard to break, theoretically. The Hyperion K is the same back pressure pretty much. It's an inch longer, but it's lighter. And if you made it at Inconel, it would make the same NK obsolete because it's so much quieter. Why would you use the same NK? Like, look, I'm not picking on dead air, but I'm telling you, what silencer has such low back pressure? Pick okay, forget about dead air. Rugged Radiant short configuration. Did I put that in here? Let's scroll down in the review. No, I didn't put it on the chart. It's so loud, it doesn't matter. Short configuration of the Radiant has really low back pressure too, but it's worthless compared to the Hyperion K. If you don't need any lower back pressure than the Hyperion K, you don't need it. It has lower back pressure than the SOCOM 762 RC2, and it's almost as quiet at the ear. The Surefire is quieter at the muzzle. The Hyperion K is almost as quiet at the ear as the Surefire. Are you kidding me? And it still has lower back pressure. What? I mean, so why would you ever use a short rate version of the Radiant, or why would you ever use the same NK unless you needed something more durable than the Hyperion K because the Hyperion K is titanium? Okay, fine. So wait until you get an Inconel Hyperion K or an Inconel Helios DT, which is the same as the Hyperion K. Fine. It'd be worth waiting for me. I wouldn't buy a Sam NK then. Then you have a Sam NK. Then what are you going to do with it? Then I can do anything with it. Because it's not a silencer. It's too loud. Look, that's not true. That's not fair to say. The Sam NK is actually a very good low back pressure, small, tiny silencer that's really loud. Also, it's better than nothing. Knocks it down pretty good. But Hyperion K is a different sport, which means the Helios DT made out of Inconel is a different sport, which means that I don't even know if you could buy that. You might. I don't know. Maybe CGS has some. I don't know. I have no idea. I actually have no idea what they have. I don't know. But look at the data and see how retarded crazy it is. Like, I don't even know. I know it's late, and I know I might be rambling right now, but... Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about the first round pop. The Hyperion silencers don't even have it. They don't even have first round pop. The Helios QD has some first round pop. Because why? Because the gas goes in the silencer differently. And and there's a big old thing in there, big old chamber, but the Helios QD is quieter than the Hyperion K because of the way the gas flows through it. I'm sorry, the way the gas enters part of it. So, look, I don't know. I think I'm going to talk about these more the next episode for sure. What time is it? Or rather, what time, podcast time is it? We're almost 2 hours. It's not too bad. I have more to say about these probably. I just don't have time right now to talk more about them. I will say, go check out the reviews on pewscience.com if you haven't. I put a lot of work into those. I know they're technical. You don't have to read them. Just read the conclusions at the end. Look at the suppression rating at the top and scroll all the way down and read the conclusions. That's all you need to know. If you don't look at any of the data, I don't care. Just at least read the conclusions. It's important. I don't know what to say right now, except that these are insane silencers that are different than anything else on the market. Oh, you know what I did want to say, and I told Josh I would talk about this because I talked to him about it. I talked to Bobby about it. Bobby owns, or he runs Dead Air. I don't know who he owns. Oh, I'm sorry, CGS. Sorry. It's late. Bobby is in charge at CGS, and I obviously have had a lot of communication with them because I did this work for them. I worked hard to make sure that they had data that they could help their R&D. And I do that with every Pew Science client. There's another company right now. I can't say their name yet. I'm working with them. I've been working with them back and forth on the report I just generated for them. You've never heard about this company, I promise. They're a new company. They made some neat stuff, and if you're a Pew Science client, I'm gonna do my best for you, and I'm gonna help you succeed in your R&D goals. I'm not gonna design shit for you. Oh, did I curse? Relax. You didn't hear that. I'm not gonna design stuff for you, but I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna do my best to show data that I am proud of. Okay? With that being said, I told them I was going to say something about this. They didn't ask me to say this, but I told them I was going to because it upset me a little bit. And frankly, I can say anything I want. Now, a guy reached out to me today on Instagram, on the gram, a DM, personal, and this guy is not the first time he's messaged me. I don't know him. I don't know this guy. I'm not going to say his name, but I am going to say tell you what he told me. He told me that Kyle from KG Made designed part of these CGS silencers. I don't know where he heard that from, but it's not true. It's not true. And I am bringing this up publicly because I want to nip. You know when you get a weed growing in the yard and you let it just grow? No, I nip this in the bud now. Not on my page, not on my DMs, not on my website, not on my podcast. I do not entertain things like this. And I'm going to make it very clear, who is ever listening to this and you want to say things like this, don't come to me with them. Don't come to me. You want to talk like this about people and say things like this, don't come to Jay, because I'm going to do this now. Now I say publicly now. Okay? Josh Parker designed the Hyperion technology in these silencers. Okay? He worked very hard for many years. And he deserves the credit for it. Because I know what hard work is. And I take it extremely seriously. I don't know why someone would say something like that. And I don't care. You think, and it's funny. I know people are going to say things like, oh, well, Jay did testing for CGS, so he's going to defend. No. Who did I defend before? I defended Kevin Brittingham before. Kevin hasn't paid Pew Science a dime. Q isn't even they're not even a manufacturer member of Pew Science. Okay? So don't get it twisted here. I'm getting a little tired of how some of this has been going in this industry. People talk. I don't have to put up with that. I'm not putting up with this either. I'm not done. Okay. The person who told me this, that Kyle from KG Made designed CGS silencers, you know what? You know what else he told me? He told me that other people have been saying that too. No. We don't do this here at Pew Science. I don't let that happen. I'm not going to let that happen. This is, you know how long CGS waited for this moment to show people the world? Show their designs to the world like this, in the performance in a way that can properly characterize the sound signature. You know all the people that have heard Josh's designs that work in the industry, including Mike Pappas, including McKeith at Dead Air, and Mike Smith at Dead Air, and Ray at Thunder Beast, and all these guys, Todd McGee at Dead Air. You know how all these guys that have heard CGS's stuff and compliment Josh on his designs because he deserves it? You know, people that you wouldn't think compliment that CGS compliment them. All those people say great things about them, nothing but good things. Not publicly, but privately. You know why? Because they work dang hard. I tell you what. And I wrote the reviews on my website, and I'm going to say right now what I wrote on them. In the opening paragraph, I said the Hyperion, this is the Hyperion K, this is Sound Signature Review 628, published on November 18th, 2020. Written by me. These are my words. The Hyperion K is designed by CGS Group. I put that on there, man. If that wasn't true, then I would have to put something else there. Okay? So if anybody listening right now, and I was told all kinds of people who've been saying this, and so all you listening that have been saying this know that I know who you are now, frankly. So you be embarrassed. I'm not going to say your name because you don't deserve it. So all you people that are listening that said that stuff, well, okay, great. Reach out to CGS and tell them and apologize. And then also reach out to KG and ask him what the heck's going on. And ask him what he thinks. Ask Kyle if he designed CGS silencers for them. Okay? That's what I do now. What are you going to do now? Did I make you mad? Okay. You see, I'm independent now. I don't need you to be happy with me. I publish data that is correct and unbiased and independent, and I wrote who designed the silencer on my website. Give credit where the credit's due to the designers. I'm going to go back right now. Let's go to another Pew Science review. Let's scroll down. Scroll down to a dead air review. This is a random one. Sound Signature Review 619, Dead Air Sandman TI. The Sandman TI is designed by Dead Air. It's right there. It's right there on the website. Show me something on my website that's not true. I don't publish things that are wrong. All right? Okay. I'm extremely upset. I'm extremely upset at this. I take it very seriously. I'm not going to entertain that. I'm not doing it. I don't play politics, and these aren't politics I'm playing. You think it'd be better for me not to say anything, don't you? Well, no. Because if I didn't say anything, then this whole situation was going to be a problem. And now it's not. Now it's out in the open. And people can take their licks. Don't message me stuff like that anymore. This is an announcement to everyone who's listening. If you want to gossip and you want to say things about, oh, so-and-so did this and so-and-so hurt my feelings and so-and-so did this and this, don't come to me with that. I'm not a meme account. You know that Instagram account, the guy, the 9mm SMG guy? He posts funny pictures. That's a meme account. He does these fights with people. I don't do that. Don't come to me with that. You go to him. You go to talk to him you go talk to people like that about people that design and say, no. No. I don't need this. I don't need that. Okay? Give credit where credit's due. Josh Parker designed the Hyperion silencer. And the technology, he patented it. That's a lot of work. And now all these people are going to have to clean up their mess for talking that stuff. They're going to have to go clean up your mess. A lot of people listening. You know how many people listen to this podcast that now you have to deal with because you said that? Don't say that to me. I'll blow up your spot. I will blow up your spot. And I'm not even going to say your name because then you get publicity. See what I do for you now? Don't mess with me, man. We're going to test KG made stuff too, so don't you worry about that. And even if he doesn't send it to Pew Science, I don't care. We'll test it anyway. I can get any silencer I want from anywhere. What? You gonna hide them? You gonna stop selling them? Fine. Don't stop selling them. Then we have to test them because no one can buy them. I don't. That's another thing I wanted to say about that. Do I want to say? No. You know what? There are things I'm not going to say to protect the innocent. Anyway, if I want to test a product, it's going to be tested. Okay. Topic 4. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I think we're just going to have to keep testing silencers. I'll have some more thoughts on that in future reviews, guys. I'm sorry. I'll have some more thoughts on future reviews soon and data presentation to give you on the next podcast. Right now, there's a lot of data in the pipeline, and I say this all the time. We're just getting started. This is a long one. I'm just gonna have to continue this topic next time. I don't have time this evening. I wanted to address it. A lot of you may be thinking, well, gosh, have we tested the quietest silencer? There's nowhere to go. I don't think that's true. I'm sure we'll test something quieter eventually. Plus, there's a lot of other performance parameters besides sound, like back pressure, first round pop, other stuff. Plus, you all need to know what kind of performance your silencers have. So, okay. Topic 5. Welcome to new Pew Science members. Thank you for your support, as always. The membership is strong. The corporate members, the consumer members, the private clients, the now public clients you see, and you're going to see more of those. You guys are making this happen. You're making the dream occur. For all of you, for me, for you. We are literally pushing the industry forward now. Look what's happening. People are seeing the silencers on a level playing field. No one can influence the data. No one can touch this data, dude. It is like, this is locked down. I'm actually like literally the only person who can do this, by the way. Like no one has access to it. Like no one knows the passwords. No one knows the encryption keys. He encrypts his stuff? Jay's crazy. Yeah, of course I do. It's unbreakable, theoretically. But yeah. Like there's no one, like if I died, like if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, it'd be over. Like there is no backup person here. No one, like I don't have someone that's like, oh yeah, let me just recreate it real quick here. I mean, you could. All you have to do is build PewSoft and test the silencers again. But that's the good thing about this. Like no one can dispute this. No one can influence it. Like no one can take it down. No one can steal it from you. No one can twist it. No one can massage it. No one can do anything to this data. You have it. It's there on the website. You can see it. You can look at it. You can interpret it how you like. It's there. You have the test parameters. You have the sample rate. You have the sensor locations. You have the weapon system, the ammunition. You can test this. You can reproduce it if you want. Anyone listening in the world, you can do this too. It's going to take you a long time, but eventually you will do it. And just know that this is the way we're going to do this from now on. And I think it's important. And I think it's going to help everybody. So all you people listening, without you, I could not do this. It would not be possible without Pew Science members. It would not be possible. And for that, I thank you. And with that, happy Thanksgiving. And I will talk to you folks again soon. Eat a lot of turkey, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie, corn on the cob. Those are my favorite Thanksgiving things. Stay safe, hunt deer, be safe. Just be safe. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.